Ty Tesorero's father murdered him 1 year ago this month. Ty's mother told us she would never stop fighting in his memory.
And tonight, following a year-long Denver7 investigation, the state is creating a task force to deal with cases like the one that ultimately ended Ty's life and to make sure history never repeats itself. Here's Denver7 investigator Jennifer Kovaleski.
So this is like when he was born in China. I kept his vaccine records.
911, where's your emergency? I got an email saying that he's gonna kill my son.
When the abuse doesn't come with bumps and bruises.
I know he's struggling inside.
By the time you finish reading this, I will be moments away from joining me in the afterlife.
It's harder to spot.
Anthony Lone Tree Police Department.
There was domestic violence that was being ignored.
Before it's too late.
He is dead, and so is Anthony.
No.
It was too late for Jing Tesorero's 10-year-old son Ty. Ty left us suddenly, just a year ago. His father, who was also Jing's abuser, killed him. Her ex-husband, Anthony Tesorero, then took his own life at their home in Lone Tree. All of it just hours after a judge told Anthony he was going to lose custody of his son, a convicted abuser with one final act of control.
I just feel like either way he wasn't gonna give up easily.
It has been painfully real for Ty's mother, who a year later finds herself free from the cycle of abuse.
I'm not being harassed anymore. Be able to feel safe leaving the parking garage or walking on the street.
But it came at a great cost.
The hole is never gonna be filled when you lose a child.
Our year-long investigation uncovered a court system that for 15 months failed to hear a mother's cries for help, and a child welfare agency ill-equipped to tackle domestic violence.
I feel like DHS standard in general is not to protect the children.
Colorado's Department of Human Services was heavily involved in Ty's case and launched its own investigation, a top-to-bottom review that is now complete and leading to more calls for change.
The whole system, how can we do a better job?
The state's child fatality review team put Ty's death under the microscope. It found a systematic gap in managing domestic violence abusers when the violence is coercive control rather than physical.
Really what we see now is that domestic violence looks different than what it may stereotypically look like of a battered person.
It's Mina Conan's job to do something about it.
It could be that we need to strengthen our caseworker training around domestic violence.
She's the director of the Office of Children, Youth, and Families.
Do you believe mistakes were made in this case the department can learn from?
We absolutely could do better as a system, absolutely.
The review found an open DHS assessment at the time of Ty's murder, 1 prior case, 5 assessments, and 22 referrals to social services in just 3 years.
What is the department doing to prevent another tragedy like this from happening?
Changing our practices if necessary, offering additional training.
The team behind the report is made up of caseworkers, law enforcement, and lawmakers. Their recommendations have helped create a task force that will change how Colorado responds to domestic violence within the child protection system.
We need to look more deeply because of the trends that we are seeing around domestic violence in child abuse and neglect cases, that we need to act.
The report is also recommending better communication between family and criminal courts and a law change to Colorado's Children's Code. It would define domestic violence and parental alienation as prosecutable forms of abuse and neglect.
If it truly does not meet the statute of child abuse and neglect, we can't act upon that.
Cohen says the task force will meet for the first time on September 22nd, a date that comes with meaning for Jing.
It's hard to think about the time that, when he's in the middle.
It's just 1 day after the year anniversary of her son's death.
I'm gonna be looking at an empty bedroom and Ty's old clothes and Ty's old toys.
A mother still grieving and still clinging to that empty bedroom.
That's gonna be there.
But holding out hope the abuse she and her son had to endure comes out of the shadows.
When they're under abuse, it's not bruises, bumps, and injuries. There's mental abuse.
The work group will develop recommendations within a year. Lawmakers are also considering a bill to create a dedicated family court system. It would better train judges on issues like domestic violence. A similar bill didn't make it through last session because of the pandemic. I'm Denver7 investigator Jennifer Kovaleski.